In the world of financial empires and power, where truth is often hidden behind glittering curtains, a young girl dared to stand up and lift that veil of deception. This is the story of Emily Carter, a mere 16-year-old who uncovered a massive conspiracy and challenged a powerful corporation. When the whole world seemed blurred by deceitful schemes, could a teenage girl change the course, redefine justice and courage? Join this intense journey where truth is not just a weapon, but also a beacon of hope for the forgotten. Emily Carter was not the daughter of tycoons or powerful businessmen. She was simply the daughter of Linda, a cleaning lady at the headquarters of Titan Corp. Every night, when the office lights went off, Emily often followed her mother to the 30th floor, a place where she witnessed the hidden lives and secrets of adults that few noticed. One night, while tidying a small meeting room beside the CEO's office, Emily found a messy stack of files. Beneath them lay an old contract with a faded signature. Curious, she opened it and immediately sensed something was wrong. The signature looked forged, some contract clauses were strange, and a part of the legal responsibility was shifted to a ghost company no one knew about. Questions flooded her mind. Why was this contract hidden? Who was behind these dark schemes? And most importantly, how could she expose the truth without being pushed aside? The next morning, Emily decided to confide in the person she trusted most, David Thompson, a young lawyer recently hired as legal advisor at Titan Corp. David was initially skeptical, but upon closer inspection, he couldn't deny the unusual signs Emily uncovered. David felt the weight of a truth waiting to be revealed. But the real challenge began when Emily and David decided to report to CEO Jonathan Mitchell, the head of Titan Corp. 3:15. In a private meeting with only a few executives, Emily faced surprise and skepticism from the top leaders. But Jonathan Mitchell, known for his cautious and decisive nature, listened silently. In a private meeting with only a few executives, Emily faced surprise and skepticism from the top leaders. But Jonathan Mitchell, known for his cautious and decisive nature, listened silently. "I know this will shake the entire company," Jonathan said slowly. "But if what this girl says is true, we cannot turn a blind eye. Justice must come before personal gain." 4:10. The story quickly moved into a deep investigation. A network of shell companies, forged contracts, and offshore fund transfers began to surface. Meanwhile, Emily became the center of attention, not just as the whistleblower, but as a symbol of quiet courage. "I know this will shake the entire company," Jonathan said slowly. "But if what this girl says is true, we cannot turn a blind eye. Justice must come before personal gain." The story quickly moved into a deep investigation. A network of shell companies, forged contracts, and offshore fund transfers began to surface. Meanwhile, Emily became the center of attention, not just as the whistleblower, but as a symbol of quiet courage. However, not everyone wanted the truth to be revealed. Marcus Lang, Titan Corp CFO, along with senior advisor Claire Reynolds, started plotting against Emily. They knew if she stood firm, their empire would shake. One night, Emily received anonymous threats by phone and email. She felt lonely and confused, but never lost faith in the truth. Outside, the community began to hear Emily's story through online articles and social media. She was dubbed the cleaning girl exposing the truth, a symbol for the forgotten. Van Ben MCC Hunin, the main conference room. Jonathan Mitchell called the first press conference after verifying the evidence. Standing before the cameras, he stated frankly, "We have uncovered a fraud network inside Titan Corp. Thanks to the courage of a young girl, we have the chance to correct our mistakes and start anew." Under the stage lights, Emily sat beside him, her eyes shining with pride, yet mixed with undeniable tension. She knew the road ahead was still long. Then came the crucial day, the opening court hearing of the fierce legal battle. Emily stepped onto the witness stand, each step filled with courage beyond her years. The spotlight shone directly on her face as her voice rang clear. I am not a lawyer, nor do I understand all the complex contract terms, but I know when something is wrong. Emily recounted every tiny detail she discovered, the unnatural signatures, hidden contract clauses, and the fraudulent signs that company adults intentionally ignored. Victoria Grant, the prosecutor's attorney, smiled gently and asked, "Why did you decide to speak up, knowing it could put you in danger?" Emily's eyes lit up as she replied, "Because, even though I'm just a cleaning lady's daughter, I can see the truth. My mother has worked here for years, but was never properly recognized. I can't let this continue." The courtroom fell silent for a few seconds. Her words hit hard the hearts of those watching. The defense attorney tried to shake her. "Are you sure you understand all the legal terms, or are you just guessing?" Emily stood firm. "I don't know all the legal jargon, but I know when someone hides something, there's trouble." The jury looked at Emily with new eyes. No longer just a girl, but a symbol of courage and justice. The hearing ended. Victoria stood and said, "This is not just a case about forged contracts. It's a story about bravery, justice, and belief in those who are often forgotten." Outside the courthouse, reporters packed the area, their eyes fixed on Emily, the girl who dared to challenge a financial empire. The story was far from over. As the trial entered its next days, the pressure on Emily grew heavier. Threatening phone calls and scrutinizing glances in the courthouse hallways did not scare her. Instead, they strengthened her determination. Jonathan Mitchell, CEO of Titan Corp., stepped out of the press room, his eyes tired but resolute. He knew his empire was facing a severe test, but he believed in the truth Emily had brought forward. Meanwhile, Marcus Lang and Claire Reynolds, the masterminds behind the conspiracy, began their sabotage tactics. They tried to discredit Emily by exposing minor flaws in the evidence she had gathered. A 16-year-old girl dares to challenge a giant corporation? Who would believe such claims? Marcus said coldly to Claire in a dark office, the only light flickering from a computer screen. What they didn't expect was the growing public support for Emily. Articles, TV broadcasts, and social media were flooded with cheers and trust for the cleaning girl who exposed the truth. One evening, Emily received an anonymous handwritten letter. Inside was a message. "Don't be afraid, young girl. Truth will always triumph. We stand with you." Holding the letter, Emily felt warmth and renewed strength. She knew she was not alone in this battle. The trial continued, and now it was Jonathan Mitchell's turn to testify. He recounted the discovery of the fraud, from Emily's first warnings to his resolve to make things right. "I was once blind to deception, but that girl opened my eyes," Jonathan said, his voice trembling slightly but sincere. "I learned that it's not position or power that defines truth, but the courage of those who stand up." The courtroom fell silent. Emily looked at him and saw in the CEO's eyes not only gratitude, but also a promise to rebuild the company on honesty. Then Claire Reynolds faced the court. She remained calm and cold on the surface, but inside was undeniable tension. When the prosecutor played a recorded internal meeting where Claire admitted to the deception and cover-up, the courtroom froze. Sighs and shocked glances spread throughout. Claire offered a weak defense. "I didn't expect it to go this far. I only wanted to protect the company, to protect myself." Under the stage lights, Emily sat beside him, her eyes shining with pride, yet mixed with undeniable tension. She knew the road ahead was still long, but her words could not soothe the anger of the court and public. Claire's actions had shattered many people's trust in big corporations. Outside the courthouse, crowds gathered holding signs reading, "Truth will prevail," and "Emily Carter, our hope." Emily left the court through a side door to avoid the cheering crowd. But she knew she had become a symbol, not just of truth, but also of the power of small voices. Jonathan Mitchell met her outside, his gaze full of respect. "You did what no one else dared to do. This is just the beginning, but thanks to you, Titan Corp will change." Emily stared into the distance, feeling the heavy responsibility on her shoulders, but also the hopes of countless people. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. She sat by the window, gazing out at the vast city illuminated by warm yellow lights. Her mind was filled with thoughts about the future, the challenges ahead, and dreams that no longer belonged to her alone. She reminded herself that the path of truth is never easy or straight. It is full of shadows, difficult steps, and lonely moments. But it is on that path she found the greatest strength, faith in herself, and a courage that would never fade. Emily knew that although she had won a battle, the fight for justice and transparency was far from over. And she, once underestimated because of her age and background, had now become a symbol for all the small but unyielding voices. The city lights flickered outside the window like promises of a brighter tomorrow, where truth is honored, justice is more than words, and one person's courage can change the world. The dark night covered the city, while Emily Carter remained awake at her desk, hands trembling as she flipped through the documents she had kept for weeks. Every letter, every number was a piece of a vast conspiracy she had once cleaned past one hidden beneath forged contracts, shell companies, and secret agreements. The next morning, in the boardroom of Hale Enterprises, Marcus Lang, the powerful CEO, received an unexpected call. Shocking news was spreading on social media. A teenage girl, the daughter of a cleaning staff, had exposed a billion-dollar fraud scheme within the company. Marcus felt a chill as he saw a photo of Emily standing before a microphone at a press conference, her eyes sharp like a warrior's, despite her youthful face. He knew the empire he built was on the brink of collapse. At the courthouse, the trial opened with the presence of all key figures: Emily, Marcus, lawyer Victoria Hayes, and Claire Reynolds, the powerful woman behind it all. Emily sat in the back row, calm but her eyes burning with determination. Victoria presented every detail and piece of evidence clearly and confidently, from forged contracts and legal documents to unusual money transfers. Layer by layer, crimes were uncovered under the light of justice. Marcus looked at Emily with a chaotic mix of shock and hatred. Claire, beside him, tried to stay composed, but her trembling hands betrayed her panic. It was Emily's turn. She stepped onto the witness stand, placed her hand on the Bible, and swore to tell the truth. Her voice was clear and steady as she recounted how she accidentally discovered the suspicious contract, how she recognized fraudulent terms hidden in the smallest print. Her answer left the courtroom breathless. "Though I don't understand all the legal terms, I know when something is wrong, and I cannot stay silent." The defense lawyers tried to discredit Emily's words, but her sincerity and courage touched everyone present in the courtroom. After a long day of arguments, the atmosphere in the courtroom became intensely tense. Marcus and Claire grew weaker than ever as undeniable evidence was presented. This was no longer just a legal battle, but a fight for dignity and justice. Marcus Lang and Claire Reynolds, now stripped of all power, were spending cold days in federal prison. The cold concrete walls, dim fluorescent lights, and suffocating loneliness made them unable to forget what they had lost: power, reputation, freedom, and especially the trust of those once by their side. Claire sat in a small cell, her tired eyes gazing through a narrow, high window, seeing only a bleak gray sky. She turned on an old phone, replaying the recording of the case, Emily's voice clear and distinct. "Just because I'm a cleaning girl doesn't mean I don't see the truth." Those words stabbed her heart, reminding her of the inevitable collapse of the empire she once built. Outside the cell, city life kept moving. Street lights flickered, vehicles echoed through the night, and stars twinkled in the sky like whispers of hope and the future. In a classroom on a high floor of a prestigious university, Emily stood by a large window, gazing at the cityscape at night. A gentle breeze blew, softly lifting her long black hair, her eyes shining like stars in the sky. She knew the journey ahead would hold many challenges, but today she had made a difference. She used her courage to expose the truth and bring justice to the forgotten and the overlooked. This was not just her victory. It was a victory for all workers, all oppressed people. The school clock chimed steadily, marking the end of one day and the start of a new chapter. Emily took a deep breath and smiled softly. Deep inside, she knew that every day was an opportunity to continue fighting for truth and fairness, no matter the size of the challenge. She turned back to her desk, the warm yellow light illuminating pages of books, plans, and unfinished dreams. Confident, steady footsteps echoed as she stepped out of the room, a symbol of hope and resilience. Emily Carter was no longer just the cleaning girl from before, but a woman who dared to challenge power, breaking down walls of deceit and injustice. She had become an inspiration for millions, proving that no one is too small to change the world. Her story, her light, would keep burning in the hearts of those who believe in the power of truth, courage, and justice. And as Emily walked out of the university gates under the glowing sunset, the world seemed to listen to her steps, the steps of a hero, a symbol, a brighter future for all of us.